Hello and welcome to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
And I'm Corey Ballmeister.
And we've got Rob on the booth. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Rob will be taking all of your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games so he can see them and send his favorites over to us. We've seen a little bit more of Standard over the last week.
Yep.
And there's a pretty clear front runner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's Yorion. This should not come as too much of a surprise. You know, the Standard is often about, mid-range attrition battles. You know, you need to interact, but you also need to, generate card advantage to pull ahead.
Yep.
Yorion is about the best in the business at playing that style of game.
Yep. 100%. And the whole reason Yorion was kind of held under, it not being the best deck or even the second best deck or anything like that was the decks that go over the top of it. It's really hard to deal with those decks unless you play a bunch of counter spells, which, is not really going towards your game plan of Yorion of putting stuff on the battlefield and then gaining value off of it. So these ramp decks, these Omnath decks really contained Yorion, but now that that's gone, it's bird time. It's bird time.
So we are bringing you a Gauntlet-style show today. Corey is going to be playing his choice Yorion deck in the format. There are many different Yorion decks floating around right now.
Yep. And
that's sort of the name of the game. And Standard is to figure out which of these Yorion decks is the best, or maybe there's more than one that are approximate, but which ones have staying power and which ones are going to fall by the wayside.
Yep.
And the list that you've chosen, the one that you favor is Esper Doom Foretold.
Yep. Esper Doom is a kind of a progression. I started with the Azorius Blink deck that picked up some popularity. Even LSV played it in the CFB Showdown as the end boss. Nassif's been playing it a lot. And I think that deck is very, very good, but I wanted to kind of take it to the next level and try to be favored in that matchup. And two cards that led me down that path were, well, kind of three. Doom Foretold to be able to control my opponent's Yorions, control their omens, control their Charming Princes, so that when they actually cast Yorion, it doesn't just get crazy out of hand like we see, happen so often. Dance of the Mant, because that is one of the cards that is kind of this over-the-top effect, like Genesis Ultimatum, like Ugin, like all the Omnath stuff was Escape the Wilds. Yep. It has that feel. You get so many cards for one. If you're ever bringing back like two Doom Foretold, 200 enchantments, it doesn't matter if they're, 4/4s or not. That kind of value is going to snowball other Yorion decks out of play. And then just Elspeth's Nightmare, I learned just is super good at picking away a Charming Prince or a Skyclave Apparition and then taking a ECD or something from the hand. And then if you ever blink it, kind of get that stuff going as well. So I had in mind to just be better against the other Yorion decks, but I also found that I think it's just better against aggro decks as well. So yeah, I think this is the best Yorion deck, and I've been quite happy with it.
Okay, so we are going to put this deck to the test. We've got a lineup of three non-Yorion decks that are doing quite well in the format right now, and we'll see if you can take it down. So you did play this deck last weekend in the second Bash Bros tournament, correct?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
And you took third place.
I took third, yep.
And so the deck I'm starting with took first place in that tournament, so it's clearly better.
It's clearly better.
Yeah, that's just numbers. You can't argue with
Can't argue with them. I didn't play against this person and beat them in the tournament, I swear.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So this is Sandy Dog's Demir Rogues list. And we know when Sandy Dog is not playing mono red that, one, mono red is unplayable.
Yeah.
And two, the deck they are playing has to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So this is, his version of Demir Rogue still has that sort of controlling plan with Into the Story that we saw from Seth Manfield at the Season 2 Grand Finals, 2020 Grand Finals.
Yep.
And that's now been widely adopted. That's just stock for Rogues these days. So a very interactive deck, one that's going to hopefully get a little bit underneath you with some of the cheap threats, and then use the counter spells, the Drown in the Locks, Mystical Disputes out of the sideboard, and other things to stop you from being able to land these really powerful card advantage generating threats like Yorion, Elspeth Conquers Death, etc.
Yeah, and honestly, so the big thing about Yorion for me here is It is very powerful, and it's proving itself as could be the best deck. I mean, I'm biased, and I've been thinking it's the best deck for a long time, but in reality, I don't necessarily think that's for sure true. I think it's the flavor of the weekend, and it's going to be very good, but it is just a sorcery speed deck that plays a bunch of haymakers after another. You can't really build it in such a way that it doesn't do that. Otherwise, you're not doing the Yorion stuff as well. So, Yorion stuff is naturally good against like Rakdos, Green-Black Adventures that's trying to answer spot removal and not actually counter Yorion. When you are just trying to counter it, Yorion becomes a lot less effective when you can also maintain some of the board presence as well. But when you can just drown in the lock my Yorion from coming into play and then attack for 7 or something like that, it's still a very good plan. Dimir Control follows the same kind of mold of just, counter the bird instead. So I do think this is a good way to attack it.
Yeah. No, it certainly makes sense on paper. The question is just whether there's too much of a disparity in overall power level.
Yep.
Sometimes the card's going to line up well in a theoretical sense. Tempo is generally good against mid-range or good against tapping out for big threats, and counter spells are going to match up well against that. But if the specific counter spells and threats that you have in your tempo deck are not going to match up well against the specific cards in the Yorion deck, then it's just not going to work. So there's always a question of whether you have the right tools to be able to enact the game plan that makes sense in a theoretical way. To actually make it come to fruition on the table.
Agreed. And I've just basically been only playing Yorion because it's what I like. So it just so happened that it ended up being really good, and I'm like, oh, this is a treat.
That's lucky.
I know, right? Okay, so
does that mean next week mono blue aggro decks are going to be good?
A boy can dream, Ross. A boy can dream.
It happens once every 5 years or so. There's Delver, which is basically a mono blue deck. Left for Geist. Then
mono blue and Mythic Championship 1. Yeah.
And then in between there was mono blue Devotion. So it's happened 3 times in the last decade.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I think it happened once in Historic for like a weekend as well, so not bad.
And I think with those 3 decks, 5 open top 8s and 2 wins.
Okay. We can tell what you're good at, that's for sure.
Oh, I know where my talents lie.
And also, this is embarrassing, man. We both were Yorion.
I'm pretty sure I typed shotgun into our Slack thread.
But I've been wearing this through the weekend every day and haven't changed it or washed it, right?
Yeah, it smells terrible.
Well, hey, the viewers cannot smell it at home.
Yeah, but I can.
Hey, that's okay. That's how I get the marbles here. I get into his head.
Okay, I'm going to douse you with hand sanitizer.
Yeah, please do. All right, so the marbles were over here, so you get to go first, my friend.
Okay, I have a pretty reasonable hand.
Yeah, my hand is sweet. I have my favorite card in here. Well, okay,
Yorion?
favorite. It's second, but
start with a failed passage.
All right, I will go with the Temple. Scrying against this deck is surprisingly quite bad, but...
You mean unsurprisingly?
Yeah, okay. I think I'll bottom this. I don't need another Temple here. An untapped land maybe I'd keep, but yeah, we'll pass to you.
Okay, good draw. I am going to play this Agadeem and take 3.
All right.
Go to 17. Pass turn.
I'm winning. Okay, a draw. So I usually like to just play the basics first instead of pathways, as long as you don't need 2 of any color. Like, I'm not going to play Island when I have Skyclave operations in the deck. But, outside of that, I usually want to get the basics first to give myself the most option. Okay. I will play this fancy card.
Metamize Prophecy.
And honestly, one quick thing, this is kind of the card that put me into Esper Doom. I was starting to play it in the Azorius deck, and I'm like, this card is actually quite good. But I was like, it could be way better in a Doom Foretold deck, because the nice thing here, and it's the most flavorful play ever, is you get to scry, and then on turn 3, you get to choose a card. It naturally flows into Doom Foretold, so you get to actually foretold Doom before you foretell Doom on turn 4, and then draw 2 cards. And then you get to sack it before the last chapter goes off. That's pretty much useless. Yeah. So it's the perfect Doom Foretold complement, I should say. But resolve, I imagine?
Yep.
Okay. I will do some scrying. 2 lands. I don't want either of those, and I'll pass to you.
Well, I have a Soaring Thought Thief, so that scry wasn't going to do a whole lot anyway.
Sometimes I just scry enchantments to the top against this deck, and I'm just like, just keep filling up my graveyard so I can dance with you later.
Okay, I have a pathway, and I will attack and mill 2.
Mill 2, okay. now we actually have to keep track of how much I get milled. I just always look and I'm like, okay, that's a lot of cards, but
You're at 19, and then I'll play Merfolk Windrobber.
Okay.
Pass turn.
Okay, so I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna name. This is always the tricky spot. Just exactly planning out your next few turns. I am gonna name. I'm gonna name Prophecy. I'm gonna name this card. Okay.
Prophecy actually is a Magic card, by the way.
Is it?
Pretty sure. I think that's one of the cards that is also the name of a set.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna play a Pathway and pass to you.
I don't think you're allowed to run that gotcha anymore ever since the Borborygmos fiasco.
Oh yeah.
There's a match at a GP where somebody named Borborygmos when they meant to say Borborygmos Enraged, and like they held them to it on a pithing needle.
Oh god. Yeah. Yeah, Magic's a lot more forgiving these days.
Get in with both and mill 2.
Mill 2 or 4? Oh, it just triggers once. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Whenever
I'm so used to online telling me how this works. Yeah. So I'm going to cycle and get a 1/1 shark.
Yeah.
Okay, draw a card. May I block?
Yep.
I'll block this.
And take 1, go to 18.
18.
And... pass turn.
Okay, heading to chapter 3. All right, so pretty clear what my first play is going to be. The nice thing about this, too, I love this card in so many ways. This has been my favorite card since this new standard. I have juked people so many times where I name like a card and they're playing around that one, and you just like drop a Dream Trawler instead, and they're like, oh, dang it. You know, like here, of course, that does not matter because we're so early in the game, but I will play this, draw 2.
Yep.
1. Because I just think it's better than Omen of the Sea most of the time. And then I'll scry.
You do generate more value, right? You get the same scry 2, but then you draw 2 cards generally.
Yeah.
It just takes a little while to do it.
I'll top.
So I will say someone in chat was giving me a little bit of
No, because
grief
you draw 2 cards. Omen, you only draw 1.
for not having Prophecy ready to go when Ross mentioned it. But I just want to say when I search Prophecy, it literally returns every card in the set Prophecy, so it's a little hard to get there.
Well, Rob, you got to up your game. And it does not stack like this, so you do not get to draw again, but I'll play another one.
Yeah, scry 2 again.
Okay.
I assume it will be to the same result.
Bang. Okay, your go.
Okay. On your end step, I'm going to cling my own Fabled Passage.
Okay.
It's got a nice little cycle.
Cycle.
Don't want to hit cards in Core's graveyard.
Why? Come on.
You do have Dance of the Man, so there is some reason, but we're at 5 right now, so...
Yep. And you can dance if you want to, though. You can leave your friends behind.
Those were not good draws. Attack, mill 2.
2 enchantments.
Pick 1. You go to 17.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. 1 short. Okay.
And I will pass the turn.
Okay, so we will draw. I'll stack it in such a way that this goes first, and then I'll name. So first we'll take a peek at each top of each other's. Okay. And all right. Now I will name... Oh, this is going to be interesting. Let's go with... I guess they will both trigger off just whatever.
If you name the same card with
both, yeah.
I'll draw 4 cards.
That is pretty interesting. Okay, let's go with Omen of the Sun.
Okay.
And then I'm going to play a land, and I will pass to you. Nice land, nerd. You probably wanted a land.
Attack and mill 2.
Okay, so it triggers before blocks. I'll make a 3/3 shark. Did I get you good?
I mean, what am I going to do?
Yeah,
Not attack.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And I do not play a lot of sharks. In fact, I play 2. But yeah, then I'll block.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll play my island that you knew about and pass the turn.
Okay. Untap, draw, chapter 3, chapter 3. All right, this is going to be kind of absurd. I'll play Omen of the Sun. Draw 4.
Yep.
3
Go up to 19.
Yep. Get a couple of Shaheens. No Shaheens. Oh, does it? Okay.
Human soldiers, but whatever.
Why do I ever question you, Rob? I'm a fool.
You have to make do with Aaron Bear's tokens.
I will have to make do. Now the question is, do I even attack? And
Sort of two opposite ends of the spectrum. Shaheen always plays control decks. Aaron always plays aggro decks.
yeah.
It's weird that their tokens are so similar.
No kidding. It's just the Hero Precinct one that threw us all off, that's for sure. All right, well, I have 1 million cards in my hand.
So you deck and I win?
Decked and you win. Okay, so this is probably an into the story turn for you. So you know what? I'm going to attack.
I'm at 14.
Okay, and I'm going to crack Fabled Passage. Get a blue source, I suppose. Or wait a minute. Yep. I'll get a Schwamp. And let's go with a Elspeth's Nightmare. Destroying no creatures if it resolves.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and then I'll pass to you, and I'll have to discard.
I will play my end of the story.
Okay, kind of
And you
figured.
can discard.
Get rid of one of these Treacherous Blessings. I think I have enough cards.
Okay. Got a pretty reasonable turn here.
I can imagine.
Play a Ruin Crab.
Okay.
Play a Swamp and Milieu for... Ooh, actually, I don't... Yeah, I do need to play Swamp. Okay, Milieu for 2.
Okay.
Or 3.
Or 3, yeah, right.
Not Hedron Crab.
Much better.
And Bloodchief Thirst the Shark.
Shark's dead.
And 7 cards in hand. You're up.
Okay, so I will draw. I'm going to take a peek at our tops, and then I'm going to duress you. Okay. Ooh, cool. And duress.
I've got 3 pairs and a Lull Mage's Domination.
Okay. Well, Drown in the Locks are by far the best card against me, so it's probably going to be pretty easy here. Yep, we'll take that. Now... I will go with a Pathway. And... 4, 5... Yorion?
This is threatening to kill my Ruin Crab and get another Duress and 2 tokens. So, yeah, seems like it is worth
Yeah, you're in the spot there where it's like if you don't drown it, I will take your drown.
Yeah, I'm going to lose the next turn anyway.
Exactly. So. Okay, then I will pass to you. I guess, sorry, attack. Have you take 1.
Yeah, block 1, go to 13.
Yep.
Milieu for 3.
Okay. I know your other card there too.
Cry 1, I'll leave that on top. Oh yeah, you've seen this. So you know about the Fabled Passage. So with perfect information, I'll just buy the Yorion.
Yep.
Or the Luris.
Yep.
And could have cast it this turn, but for no value, so instead I'll just hold it.
Okay, and Step Omen?
Yep.
Let's cry. I don't really want these. Those are the only 2 of those copies in my deck, but they're not really that valuable. So we're going to bottom those. Draw. That's a decent one. Okay, so draw a step, exile your graveyard. All right. Yeah, it's just so nice. Every mode is so good against like 2 or 3 matchups, you know? When all the modes are good, that card is just unbelievable. When 2 of the modes are good, it's still great, you know?
Makes sense.
All right. What do we want to do now? It's a tricky one here. We got lots of options. I do want to get rid of Crab because Crab is quite annoying, but if I do choose to kill it now, you just get to lure it back. That's not very helpful for me. So instead, let's just Amiria's Call, take 3.
You had a 16.
16, okay. Oh yeah, gain life, that's right. And I'm just gonna fetch Yorion and play it, blink these out, and attack for 2.
Block 1, I go to 12.
Yep, and then I come in, I go to 18, get a couple more tokens, scry and draw, and then it'll be your turn. Do I need this? Yeah, maybe that would have actually just been a better play. I don't need another one of those. I'm going to bottom both, and then you're up. That's the card I wanted.
Cards in hand?
7. It's always 7. It's always 7 when you're messing around with Yorion. Just can't stress enough how good this prophecy card was. I played 3 of them. They drew 6 cards. You know?
Mill you for 3.
Okay.
Scry 1. Leave that on top.
Okay. I'm scared.
I'm going to Wall Mage's Domination the Yorion.
Yep.
And then I assume that there's going to be some removal spells here. So I'm actually going to throw one of these Bloodshoots Thirsts away.
Yeah, they're really not good against this. I assume they come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still got 1 back. That's plenty.
Yep.
You're out of Sharks. You've already gone through 2 of your 4 Yorions.
Yep. I only play 3 because I'm a fool as well.
Well, you have just 2 in your main deck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This is probably going to be a big turn for Corey.
Yeah. Let's go with ECD Yorion. And Skyclave Apparition the Crab.
Ugh.
And beatdowns for 3.
I go to 9.
Here you go. Have I mentioned to you recently that I enjoy this Yorion style magic? And it got to the point where, like, around the Fires Yorion stuff, like pre-Luca, when Zanside originally played a Fires Yorion list, and I'm like, this looks cool. And then I played it for E-League, and it was cool. It was just beating all these Jeskai Fires decks. But then, like, you know, a week or 2 weeks later, everyone was playing it by then, and then it was no longer as fun. We're getting to that stage again. Like, I was charming Princing Yorion around, you know, a lot last week, and now that everyone's doing it, it's slightly less fun. But it's still sweet.
I'll cast Into the Story.
Okay. That's gross.
Play Fable Passage.
Okay.
And pass the turn.
All right. All right. Untap. Trigger.
Yep.
Beatdowns.
I will... You have how many cards in hand?
7. Always 7.
It's a lot.
They're only really good.
I will play a Soaring Thought Thief before blocks.
Okay.
I will sack Fable Passage.
Okay.
Let's get another Swamp, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Maybe
will play
plan
another
another?
Soaring Thought Thief.
Okay.
I will block Apparition and an Aaron Barrich.
Okay.
I'll take 2, go to 7. I'll get a 1/1 Illusion.
Yep.
And now please blow me out.
I will try. Yeah, I think this is just the only play. I have a couple decent plays, but yeah, Double Doom. Double Doom! And then past you. You get to get them back with Luris now, though, which is slightly unfortunate, but still a solid play.
Yep. So I sack the 2 Thought Thieves.
Mm-hmm. And my graveyard is definitely outweighing my library. You know, the Yorion builds, when your opponent is directly trying to mill you, is definitely helpful. There's so many games when I'm like, I end with like 18 cards. I'm like, if I was a normal deck, I would be dead. Okay.
Let's play Thought Thief off the Luris.
Mm-hmm.
Play Pathway.
Okay.
Attack for 1, I guess.
All right, I'm down to 17.
Yep. And pass the turn.
Okay. Upkeep.
Sack ECD.
Yeah. No, I'll sack these. I'll draw. ECD goes to 3. I'm guessing I want Skyclave Apparition here, but let's see what else we got. Could bring back Yorion. Wait, this Yorion was exiled. No.
That one was countered.
Okay, but Yorion doesn't do anything here, so yeah, we'll bring back Skyclave. I'll put a counter on it, and I will target Aluros. Okay, now play a land for the turn, and gotta assume you have some removal or some counter spells here. 4. How many do I have?
32.
Okay.
Be a lot better if it was 12.
I can believe that'd be true. All right, I will play Birth of Melitus.
Sure.
Fail to find. And I'll slap down a Dream Trawler.
I'll counter that one.
Okay. Is that 3 drones, or you got one more left?
Yep.
Okay. And then I don't want to attack, so I'll pass to you. Doom triggers.
So we sack the Thought Thief.
Okay.
And then the other one goes off.
Okay.
Discard a land. I go to 5. You go to 19.
And we might need 2/2 knights there, Rob. All right, that's fair. So yeah, you go to
5.
You go to 5. I go to 19. I'll draw a card. You discarded, and I get a 2/2.
You have 4 in hand.
4. Yep. All good ones.
And I'll Thirsty Apparition.
Okay.
So that'll get me a 3/3 illusion.
Yep, because it was a Luris.
And does not seem good, but it seems necessary
Okay.
to call back one of the Thought Thieves
Okay.
and pass a turn. That's a drown.
Getting that back, if you had the option to get that back or put a spell back in your hand, that would be a nice one. Okay, and so the way Doom Foretold works with sagas is you do not go to Chapter 2 because it is in your upkeep. Works pretty cool. All right, so do I think you have one more drowned or not is the main thing here. All right, so let's go with Birth of Melitus. I'll search. I didn't want the land last time, but I do want it for this one. And then dance for 6, and you're dead if you don't have a counter spell. Okay. Yeah, so the nice thing here, you get Doom Foretold. If we had Glass Cask, we'd get that, but I'd get Elspeth's Nightmare for that. Get a couple Prophecies, draw some cards. And even get a Shark, why not? and some Moment of the Suns to gain life. And they're all 4/4s.
That'll do, Pig.
And then we will lose one of them to our Doom Foretold. We'll have to trade it in for a 2/2. But yeah, Dance of the Mounts is just insane. Absolutely insane.
I was never really able to generate any pressure, really.
Yep.
Just had the one Stormcaught Thief. Never found a Thieves Guild Enforcer. That's one of your best cards to apply pressure.
Mostly applying pressure to my library. Because that card really starts milling you quickly when you can get 2 of those going and every Thought Thief is compiling and stuff. It gets to be quite nasty.
Yeah, and I started, getting some pressure on your library with the Hedron Crab, and I had Luris and the Call of the Death Dweller to bring it back, but when you exiled it with the Apparition, that was sort of the end of the game.
And even the Elspeth's Nightmare Chapter 3, I mean, you had some other targets for that there, and I didn't even really find early Apparition or early Glass Casket, and those are actually quite important in this matchup, even though you are a control deck. That's why it is a weird dynamic in sideboarding, because I'm like, okay, I want Disputes, but I also want to leave in all my creature removal, and I mean, that is the kind of Magic we've been talking about, where you want your deck to be multi-dimensional because it's just harder to sideboard against. And I just think that's what Magic has to be about these days, now that cards are so powerful. The one-dimensional decks are usually not good enough, or they're never insane. They're always fine.
They're good on a given weekend when the metagame's not.
Their metagame calls, exactly. So, all right, everybody, this is basically, Corey's number one show here. I just get to play this Yorion deck all day, so it's magical Christmas land for me. We are going to head to sideboarding here and see if Ross can stand up to my beautiful bird servant. I doubt it. See you soon.
Welcome back to a Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our matchup between Esper Doom Foretold and Dimir Rogues. On my side of things, pretty clear where we need to be going in sideboarding. That is cutting a lot of our creature removal and bringing in better forms of interaction in the form of counterspells with Negate and Mystical Dispute and discard in Agonizing Remorse. All of these cards are going to help me effectively whittle down Corey's resources, much more so than the Bloodchief's Thirst and Lull Mage's Dominations you saw be relatively ineffective in Game 1. I used a Bloodchief's Thirst on an Omen of the Sun token. That should tell you all you need to know about how good that card is in this matchup.
And for that card, like playing a Charming Prince and blinking out the Yorion that you have is quite the nasty play that I didn't know you could do. But technically, is that how I own it? Yeah, I own it. Like, you control it, but I own it. So I can still blink it out with Charming Prince. Yeah.
What is this crap? Why does this say you owned? When has a card ever been templated like this before? Who made that decision? Who made that decision? Show yourself.
Ross, the creators are not. They're not watching. R&D is not watching our Versus Live show, I don't think.
Chat, you find that person and you bring them to me. That is your job now. That is nonsense. That is pure bull poppycock.
Wow. Are you done?
No.
Okay.
I'm still mad.
Sorry, forget I told you that interaction, because it's not going to come out. You're taking out the card. I'm taking out the card.
That is nonsense.
All right, are you done?
Sure.
Okay. All right, for me, I'm taking out some of the weak stuff here. Elspeth Conquers Death against the Luris deck. You only have one target. Charming Prince, you don't really need the loop to get going. Really, it's just that extra value stuff that is really good against other mid-range and stuff. But 2-mana 2/2 up against your fly over it, mill me plan is usually not very good.
Part of what makes Charming Prince good is the versatility too, right? Against aggro decks, you can just gain 3 life, which is really nice. It trades early against those creatures. And it still has utility in the mid-range and control matchups because it sets up those loops.
Yeah.
But it's not great when it's only doing that.
When it's only doing that, or, I mean, the only other application here is blinking Skyclave Apparition, and that can be good, but you usually have to kill that card on spot anyway, or on site anyways, so...
There's this misguided notion that, if a card is coming out often enough, it probably shouldn't be in your deck. No. But the reality is, what makes it a main deck card is it's mediocre in almost every matchup.
Yeah.
But when you're sideboarding, you want to cut all your mediocre cards and bring in great cards.
But we can talk the same about this. Archon of Sun's Grace, I basically bring in every single match, but that doesn't mean it should be a main deck card because people have removal game 1. Yeah. And then game 2s, people usually take out their removal. So it's a good game 2 and 3 card. Same kind of thing. So you can never think about things in black and white like that, this should be in the main or this shouldn't be there if you take it out all the time. This should be in the main if you bring it in. Yeah, it's not saying that's never true. Sometimes that's true, but you got to look at the application and how the games change and play out. So
exactly.
I never like to go below 2 Birth of Melitis, but Birth is not good here, but I kind of factor it into my land count a little bit, so I don't take out a ton of them. Omen of the Sun is basically useless, and Treacherous Blessing can be a little dangerous against you. Like, that's just drawing too many cards. I leave in 1, but you never want to draw 2 like I did the last game. Just bringing in Disputes, they're going to be great. Duresses are excellent. One more Escape card, just when you mill, having that option to be able to take stuff. And then Archons of Sun Grace, just a nice card to kind of juke when you have a bunch of disputes and negates and stuff. So
makes a lot of sense.
All right. Anybody have any Charming Prince related questions out there for us to get Ross going?
Somebody said, Max the Penguin says the Charming Prince breaks the curses of betrayal.
Breaks the what now?
The curses of betrayal, because the prince is so charming that it breaks the curse.
Okay.
I don't know. It seems like a good flavor reason.
I liked it. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And honestly, I didn't know it either. Someone in chat messaged it to me, just like a line I missed, because somebody did steal my thing, and they're like, you could have just did that. I was like, are you kidding me?
I mean, to be fair, that's an easy line to miss.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
When you've been playing Magic for long enough, you start to get a sense for how cards are templated.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you start sort of autopiloting reading new cards and just assume they're templated in the normal way.
Yeah.
So anytime a card is a little bit off like that, or even Mayhem Devil, the fact that Mayhem Devil triggers off of any sacrifice,
that's
like
feels
the way
wrong.
That's the way it would have been templated in 1998.
Yeah.
And, then they just happen to do it, and it ends up being relevant. Sometimes you just get an extra 3 damage in it over the course of a game.
Yeah. In 1998, were you still pretty mad about cards being printed? Be like, are you kidding me? A 4-mana 3/3? That is way too good.
In 1998, I was probably more mad about who they cast in the Power Rangers movie or something.
Okay, sure. Well, we're all mad about that. Yeah. We're all mad about that.
Well, the people that cast the Power Rangers movie was people from the TV show, so...
That's a good point.
I don't need any of your Power Rangers trivia, Rob.
Look, you're going to need me on your trivia team one night. You're like,
there's going to be
Power Rangers question. I'm not going to be there, and you're going to be cursing the...
In 2 years, when we can go to trivia again, then we can start. Then we can talk.
You're going to curse him when you finally get back to it, though. Do you have a question at all, though, Rob?
I did have one from earlier about, do you think that the old-style cycling decks can come back and be an aggro deck in this format?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, just because, even if we're trending more towards Yorion right now, the best deck right now you have to keep an eye on is Yorion. And you look at those lists, they have Glass Casket and Apparitions in the main, so that already... Cycling was this kind of, like we've been saying, this really one-dimensional deck that it does its thing. Sometimes it does it well. But in the metagame right now, there's a lot of early creature removal, and there's still a lot of stomps hanging around and stuff. So I think you got to base, if that deck is good, by early interaction, and right now there's a lot of it.
Yeah, that deck is very dependent on sticking early Flourishing Foxes.
And letting it hit like 3 times,
Yeah. So the amount of cheap removal that is around, part of that deck also was when it was new, people just didn't know exactly how to play against it.
Yeah.
And now we know that if you just interact early and often with them and then have some plan to not die to double Zenith Flare, you're going to win.
Yeah.
They have Fox early and Zenith Flare late, and occasionally the 2-drops can get in there and do a little bit of damage.
Yeah.
But if you handle Fox and Flare, you're going to be fine.
All I picture from this deck, like the Flare itself would probably be pretty good against my deck, But all I picture is just Elspeth Nightmaring a Flourishing Fox, duressing away a Zenith Flare, and then getting rid of all their cycling cards with Chapter 3. Just like, oh yes, fan me down. But, I think it's fine and it's fun to play. And there's going to be certain aggro matchups that you're probably going to be good against. Like if you play like Green-Black Adventures, Rakdos, mid-range, the decks that are kind of trying to play in this mid-range game without going over the top, you might be fine against them. But overall, I wouldn't say it's a super competitive strategy and definitely wouldn't be tier 1.
Yeah, possible that is a deck you want to keep in mind if the Yorion decks continue to dominate and they start inbreeding to win the Yorion mirrors. Yeah, that can create a hole in the metagame that the cycling deck can exploit.
100%.
So I would look for that deck only in the instance that something like that happens in the metagame, and then it's a 1 week and done kind of a strategy.
Yep.
And you got to pick your spot.
It's just unfortunate. Skyclave Apparition is now becoming like a very main deck stock card in any white deck, and I mean all the white decks are Yorion.
Every white deck in every format.
Yeah, I know. God, that card is just so good. I knew it was going to be good in Modern with Aether Vial and stuff. I did not think it was going to be good in Standard. I really didn't. Because, it already had its chance, but it just wasn't good in the Omnath style stuff. But now it's quite good.
Yeah.
Speaking of quite good, this hand is also quite good. Ish. How's your hand, Mr. Ross Marianne?
It's not a bad hand.
Okay.
It's got a good mix of stuff. The problem is I just don't have any threats.
Okay.
All interaction. And am I able to... I think, this deck is not super threat dense, right? So I don't think I can afford to mulligan hands like this. If I'm mulliganing hands like this, then clearly I've built my deck wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case, so I'm going to keep.
Okay, let's do it.
I will start with another Fable Pass.
Okay.
Get myself an Island.
I will temple, and I look at another temple, just like last game, and I'll put it on the bottom, just like last game. Pass to you.
Deja vu.
Deja vu.
Okay. Turn 2, though, is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
So instead of Soaring Thought Thief,
it's just land go.
it is Agonizing Remorse.
Okay, that's pretty good. I have a pretty interactive hand as well with a couple of Sharky Sharks.
Couple of Sharky Sharks. Well, I will be selecting one of those Sharky Sharks.
Alrighty,
I'll
makes
go to
sense.
19 and I'll pass the turn.
Okay. Yeah, my hand. I want to top deck the Prophecy card, please.
Are you sure you only have 2 Shark Typhoons in your deck?
2 in the main. I decided them in.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I will play another Temple. I will put a land on the bottom and pass to you.
I will play a Darkwater, Murkwater Pathway.
Okay.
Still learning all those.
Yep.
And pass the turn.
Getting murky. Okay. Pretty solid draw. Now the question is, do I want to just play Elspeth's Nightmare into nothing? It is a duress. At some point, you could dispute it. And I don't know if I truly care about that. So... kind of thinking no. So I'm just going to play a land... Iffy. The card I drew, I'm wondering if I want to cast now or later. Yeah, I probably just want to cast now. So we're going to... This could backfire a little bit. I'm going to cling Fabled Passage.
I will cling Fabled Passage.
That's exactly how it could be backfired there. I wanted to do it now just in case I hit a 2-drop so I could cast it, but yeah, that was the worst possible.
Yeah.
There you go.
I have a Soaring Thought Thief to go along with it.
All right, you're
I was going to cling anyway.
I know,
so.
I figured you were. Yeah, so I could have got you with the cling.
Yeah,
Dang
that went about as well as possible.
Yep. All right. Boo.
Okay, I'll play an island and attack and mill you for 2.
Okay.
And you take 1, so 19 all.
Yep.
Pass the turn.
Okay. On tap. Let's see. So I'll definitely play and crack this. Get a planes. The planes. And now it's kind of the same. Do I want to play into your thing? Not really, so I'll pass to you.
Attack, mill you for 2.
Okay. I will take 1. 18.
I will play a Clearwater Pathway.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right, end step, cling or cling. Like to control my graveyard as much as I can in the early game. Draw a card. Untap.
Yep.
Okay, it's pretty clear you're just stocked up on interactions. I don't want to play into stuff until I can kind of do a few things, so I'm just going to go land go. Knows I have Shark as an option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have reminded you, huh?
So just a very awkward spot for me. I wonder if I was supposed to just let your cling happen and then cling your cling.
You know, I do only have one. I that would have been better, but it's so hard to be like, oh, you know, you're
take the 2 for
denying
1.
you of a cantrip. Yeah, I think it actually, in hindsight, worked out perfect for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. That's interesting.
Once again, like I just don't have pressure. So if I had pressure, you wouldn't have time to do something like that.
I'd have to be jamming other spells. Yeah, that's for sure.
But without the pressure, you can just sit back, draw extra cards with your cling.
Yep.
You know.
That is, you know, if we all remember, everybody, the Teamer Reclamation days, what they started to do towards the end was just turn into control decks with Sharks and Commences. And I really like adopting that strategy into any blue deck I have, just to give yourself that option, because you get to put control decks in this awkward situation where I force you to not do anything for 3 turns, and then I start double spelling, and then I, kind of put you in an awkward spot.
Okay, I'm going to start this turn with a Remorse, so if you want to cycle the Shark Typhoon, you got to do it pre-combat.
I think I do want to do that, so I'll cycle for 3.
Yep.
And draw a card, and show you these.
Okay. I will take the Elspeth's Son's Nemesis. Definitely want to exile the escape card.
Yep.
Put you to 7, or put me to 18.
18 all?
Yeah, 18 all.
Yep.
And then I'll take 3 for an Agadim, go to 15.
Okay.
I'll drown the Shark.
It's been drowned.
Attack and mill 2.
Okay. I go to 17 and you're at 15?
Yeah, 17, 15, pass turn.
Okay, so I gotta assume you have either another drowned or a negate. So my Archon is not great. So I will start with Glass Casket.
Sure.
Exile that. And yeah, we'll jam an Archon.
All right.
Okay. Your go. Drowned and jammed. It was a nice sequencing by Ross to get me to have exactly 4 cards for the Archon he knew about.
Spy this Laris and pass the turn.
Okay.
Ross, if Stas wants to know what you think about maybe playing Brazen Borrower in the Rogues list instead of playing Luris.
I mean, the Luris is pretty good, so I think the Luris is generally better, though I do love Brazen Borrower as a Magic card.
Yeah, me too. All right, I'm going to play Elspeth's Son's Nightmare.
Sure.
No value. I'm going to buy Yorion, and it's going to give you slightly a little bit amount of information, but I want a second black. Scry.
So now you have Yorion Temple X.
Yep. I think I will actually keep this. It just sequences quite well with what I want to do for the next turn, so then I'll pass to you. And I love Elspeth's Nightmaring the turn before you want to do something big, like Dream Trawler, Yorion. Gives you that, now you have to kind of have 2 interactive spells to deal with it. Pretty cool, kind of mean. Man, why can't every day be Yorion Day?
Okay. On your end stuff, I'll play Thieves Guild Enforcer, mill you for 2.
Mill 2, okay. Dang it, I wanted that prophecy. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Very close.
I'll attack you for 1.
Okay, I'll take it. 16.
Play a Ruin Crab
Crab
and
me.
pass the turn.
Okay, I will draw and duress you.
Get my Dispute, which wasn't going to counter a Yorion this turn anyway.
Yep.
Never really had a good window for that Dispute.
No, not really. So now, I mean, Yorion is great here. I could just blink this, exile something. Probably would rather destroy Thieves Guild Enforcer, but then you do get to Luris it back. So I guess it's not insane, but I will lose out on Elspeth's Nightmare if I don't essentially use it now. The crab is not threatening anymore because you're out of lands. So actually, we're just going to go like this. We're going to lose our value on our Nightmare here, but I'm going to Apparition this. And I will Temple, Scry, keep that on top. And I want to do this now because Into the Story is 7 cards for some reason instead of 8. So let's get rid of all but Doom Foretold and exile your Drown in the Luck.
Yeah, I completely screwed up not just exiling your Cling.
Yeah, that Cling is very huge, that's for sure. So I think I played a land.
Yeah, you did.
Yep, okay, and pass to you.
Once again, I just haven't been able to get anything relevant going.
Yeah. Yeah, not having the crab and stuff on turn 1, you know, like I swear everybody I play against on the ladder has crab, next turn crab, Evolving Wilds. Like, yeah. I know he plays some Evolving Wilds too, so he puts a lot of value. Oh, really? Only one? He played it against me so many times.
Pass the turn.
All right, exile your graveyard. Not super relevant, but still cool. 3, 4, 5. All right, I will take 3.
13.
13. I will cast the Yorion you know about.
Resolves.
Blink out these 2, you get a token.
And it's a 1/1. Yeah.
Yep, 1/1. And then I'll play Doom Foretold.
Yep.
All right, end step, these come in. I will take...
Casket hits the token.
Yeah, I'll casket that and Apparition this. I guess that's... No, yeah, I'd rather that be in the graveyard. So, yep, Apparition that, and then say go.
Upkeep, sack crab.
Yep.
Oh, wait, hold.
What's up? You can do whatever you were planning on doing.
No, that's fine. Actually, okay. I think I would play it this way.
Okay.
I will play Luris and replay Crab.
Yep.
And pass the turn.
Okay, so... Yeah, I mean, I guess I did leave myself a little exposed by playing that out here. So let's get rid of Glass Casket. Draw... Omen?
Sure.
Scry. Definitely don't want this, but this card is fine. Pretty hard to want to say that card's bad, so I'll draw that. I'll attack for 4.
I go to 11.
Okay, and I'll play Archon.
Ugh.
And then a land, Scry. I'll keep that on top and pass to you.
Upkeep, I'll sack the crab.
Yep.
I'll replay the crab.
I hate it when these crabs keep coming back.
Mill you for 3 with this Fabled Passive. Passive is actually an excellent draw.
Yeah.
Let's sack it and mill you for 3.
Now we got Into the Story?
Yep.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. And if I left another land open, I could cling... Or no, you could still get it off, but I had Yorion on top to really go off next turn, so that was nice.
So cast Into the Story.
Mm-hmm.
Draw 4.
Just tidings, no big deal.
And pass the turn.
Okay, I want to tap. Now let's sack Omen. A draw.
Sack Omen to the Doom Foretold, not its ability.
Yes, of course. Now, beatdowns.
I will go to 4. You go to 16.
16, yep. All right, I am going to cling. You're into the story. A draw. I will cast Prophecy. Yes.
Being at exactly 4 is very awkward here.
Yeah.
So I definitely need. I think I just
Can always attack with Luris to gain some life,
Yeah,
but yeah, very
yeah.
likely to trade.
probably my best bet is to hope to top deck my way out of it.
Okay.
Don't know what I'm drawing. I only have the one other Heartless Act remaining. I have Heartless Act
Okay.
for one of the creatures. I didn't want to do it pre-combat because I also have a negate, but maybe I needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with just the fact that it was going to put me exactly to 4, and I knew I was
yeah.
going to want to deal with the
Oh,
Archon.
I was totally forgetting I'm getting a,
Yeah, exactly.
a flyer.
Yeah, I got to kill the Archon in response to
Okay.
this.
Well, lucky for Rob, he didn't have any Pegasus, so we good thing it died, so we didn't need him.
All part of the plan.
All a part of the plan. Okay, so then I will play. Oh yeah, so this resolves then. Scry. I will keep this card on top. Bottom this one. Play a land. Pass to you.
Sack the crab.
Within draw step, I'll cling the crab.
So you gain.
Yeah, you can counter that.
Yeah, I would definitely want to.
Okay.
Okay, I will dispute that.
Okay.
Draw. And now I'm just dead.
Just dead to this. Well, you can attack with Lewis,
Yeah,
right?
I guess that's how I have to continue. So I'll play crab.
Okay.
I will play a castle, mill you for 3.
Okay. 1, a 2, a 3.
I will Agonizing Remorse the Cling.
Dang. Okay.
Put me to 3.
Yep.
Attack with Luris.
I will block.
I go to 6.
Yep.
How big of a thing do I get with that? That took the thought.
That took 2. Yep. You get a 2 too.
2. And pass the turn.
Okay, now I think I still want to keep Doom Foretold around. I was going to have an easy prophecy name Kling, believe it or not. I was going to cast that card. But since I don't, I will just get rid of prophecy, keep the Doom being foretold.
Yep.
I'll attack for 4.
I go to 2.
All right. And I will pass to you.
And now I need a good one.
Okay. I am scared if you deal with Yorion. Because then it's kind of a house of cards, you know?
Yeah, it's a card game, Corey.
Oh, okay.
Attack for 2. You got
14. Yep.
Pass the turn.
All right. I will sack Doom and attack.
Yeah, I'm dead.
All right. I did not have much left.
Yeah.
But,
If I had negated like the Metamized Prophecy, I guess you would have just sacked it. You always have the option to sack
I always
it
have
earlier.
the option to sack it earlier. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think it came down to that Cling,
Yeah.
where I thought I made a mistake because I had that in mind. I was like, okay, if you have Cling, I get, and I was thinking the same too. I was like, you're just going to stop me from drawing a card, and then it's a bad exchange. But it's even worse if you just let it go and then take my only Cling. If you didn't know I only had one, then it's a harder decision. But
I still, that Cling ended up
eating you alive there.
Yeah, ended up drawing you 3 cards and delaying my end of the story.
Yeah.
So
taking a counter spell, and I knew right when you attacked me to exactly 6 cards and I had 4 mana open, I'm like, okay, this exchange is insane. Just empty my graveyard. against that deck, it's such a big deal, so.
And then if I hadn't taken that attack, I would have had one more draw step to try to find an answer to the bird.
Yeah.
And would have just activated castle to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe I hit the Heartless Act or something like that. Or,
and it's brutal because you really don't want spot removal in, but you're right. The situations do come up because you do, deal with my creatures so effectively and stuff. So, kind of brutal. So what do you think? Petty game, or you want to move on to the next round?
I think we can move on. Those games took a while.
Yeah. It's Yorion Day. It's a grind. Yeah.
Honestly, it's my big issue with this deck is it just doesn't apply a lot of pressure. It's supposed to be sort of a control deck, right? But if it's trying to be a control deck, you have these creatures that don't generate any card advantage and really aren't effective in the matchup, and then you're just down on total interactive spells.
Yeah.
So it felt like you were able to run me out of relevant cards much faster than I would like, and before I could reload. So I wasn't really able to play an effective control game, so I had to be, morph into the aggro control, which I think is what you want to be doing in this matchup. But you just don't have enough pressure without early Thieves Guild Enforcer or early Crab, and I didn't have those in either game. And that really, was just too much to overcome.
And I do think the Esper version is much better against this Dimir version than the blue-white version. Just all the black cards are insane. Elspeth's Nightmare, Cling, and Doom Foretold are all just lights-out cards against you.
Sure.
So I think the normal Azorius Yorion matchup...
It's a little bit more creature-heavy, too, so my removal spells in Game 1 are better.
And it's just more one-dimensional, you got to break up their Charming Prince, Yorion, Blink stuff. But here, you got to be on the lookout for Dance of the Mance. You got to be on the lookout for, Cling. You got to be ready to, deal with duress and stuff. The only thing is I'm not aggressive against you at all in this version because I basically cut all the creatures. But then again, we have Archons. You got to be wary of that, and it's just really hard to sideboard against this deck with that little bit of transformational sideboard of just bringing in Archons, because that card can get out of hand so quick when you just go Archon, even on turn 6 Archon enchantment, and then the next turn just enchantment Yorion, blink them, then you have so many flyers that it's basically impossible to come back from. The game's over. Yeah. So, all right, everyone, that's going to do it for round number 1 here on Yorion Day. Next up, what do you got for me?
I'm going to be playing Mono Green Food.
Mono Green Food, yeah, and this won the challenge, right?
Yes, this is the winning list from the challenge. Deck that received a lot of press over the last week. It's pretty cool. It doesn't.
So I one thing to say about that deck, I've been giving it a very hard time on my stream, and I've been thinking and it's just maybe every deck I play, just all the Yorion stuff, I'm like, there's no way this sorcery speed green deck is going to be able to keep up with ECD. There's no way. I think this deck is heinous. I was just giving this deck the biggest hard time on my stream, and then I played against it, and they just sacked a Troll King with a Trail of Crumbs, and just drew 3 cards, played a Wicked Wolf, killed my operation, and then I'm just like, oh, okay. It can be really scary. The value on it is insane. It's a little high variance because you have a lot of cards that are facilitators, and then you have a lot of heavy bombs that are meant for finishing.
And you don't have a ton of card selection.
So it is interesting, and the dynamic is pretty close. But that's what we're going to have up next. For anybody who missed the beginning of the show, am just playing Esper Doom the whole time. We wanted to put what I thought was the best Yorion deck up against a Gauntlet and see how it does. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short 5-minute break, and we'll be right back with round number 2 here on Versus Live.